Like many chapters in history, World War II is also surrounded by various myths and legends. World War II was a major conflict filled with extraordinary stories of heroism and tragedy. However, are all the stories you've heard about this war truly in line with its history? Today, we will debunk myths about World War II that turned out to be untrue. It is often said that Adolf Hitler allowed 300,000 British soldiers to escape from the beaches of Dunkirk in 1940 out of sympathy for the British Empire. The decision to halt at Dunkirk became one of the most controversial military decisions in the conflict. German tanks were ordered to stop and regroup for 2 days while British troops were evacuated from France. Some claim that Hitler did this intentionally, and the dictator himself said it was a sporting gesture towards Churchill. However, historical records do not support these claims. There was no military reason for the German dictator to let the British troops escape unharmed. Indeed, the German armored unit stopped, but it was to recharge its weaponry, as well as to rest. This kind of rest was actually requested by the German armored commander, and the request was approved by Hitler. A myth says a football team made up of Ukrainian players died after defeating a Nazi football team. The soccer match known as the Deathmatch between the ad hoc Ukrainian team Start FC and the German occupier team Fleckelf did indeed take place. However, the players were not executed en masse by German officers as a result of winning the match. There is no strong evidence to suggest that the deaths of the Ukrainian players resulted from mass executions. It is more likely that some of the players were on assignment and were shot as an act of reprisal. During World War II, there was propaganda suggesting that consuming carrots and vitamin A-rich vegetables would improve night vision. However, this myth was created by the British Ministry of Information as a way to boost morale and encourage citizens to grow vegetables in their gardens to anticipate food shortages. The British Ministry of Information also wanted children to believe that eating vegetables was better than indulging in sweets, as there was rationing of sweet foods during that time. Members of the SS, which many people feared, at that time were dedicated to the ideals of Aryan manhood and German pride. The SS was originally Hitler's personal protective organization, and a few years later, Himmler took over the SS and turned it into an elite military force, steeped in German fascist ideology. It is true that for a time the SS was filled with native Germans. But from 1940 onwards, the SS began to recruit people from all walks of life. After the end of World War II, people believed that the Nazis were punished for their actions. But this was not entirely true. Before the secret documents came to light, hardly anyone realized that as many as 9,000 Nazis and collaborators involved in the Holocaust escaped justice and migrated to South America. In comparison, only 6,495 Nazi criminals were ever tried. Furthermore, many of those who escaped did so with the assistance of German leaders and South American authorities. Another myth claims that German physicists were on the verge of unlocking the secrets of nuclear physics and developing an atomic bomb for Hitler. During the war, the Manhattan Project operated under the assumption that Hitler had an advanced nuclear program that could yield results at any time. However, after the war, it was revealed that the German nuclear program was not as advanced as previously thought. German physicists took a wrong path in their early research and veered away from the path to nuclear weapons. Head nuclear physicist Werner Heisenberg had vague ideas about atomic fission, but never fully understood how to apply it. Another myth says that the Soviets would not have survived or won World War II without the massive American Lend-Lease. Indeed, the war would not have been as dramatic without the hundreds of thousands of American jeeps and trucks that improved logistics and enabled major advances. However, the bulk of the loans only arrived in 1944 to 1945, when the Soviets were already close to victory. Indeed, large amounts of lending only began to arrive in late 1943, but that was when the Soviets had already halted the German advance and, in effect, repulsed German troops. By the time most leases arrived, the Soviets had already accomplished significant feats and were on track to win the war, including stopping the Germans at the Battle of Moscow in 1941 and the major battles at Stalingrad and Kursk in 1943. Even when the pieces were in place and fears of Soviet collapse had subsided, it took years to establish the right route.